Okay, we're in book 3 of this right here, and we're at part 4, story 7, Prince of Impatience. What's this? Okay, Saul had reigned less than 2 years when things began to go wrong again. Out of all the men who answered his call to fight the Amorites, he had kept 3,000 as a sort of bodyguard, 3,000, and sent the rest home. Then he put 1,000 of these under the command of his son Jonathan. Being young and brave, Jonathan stirred up trouble with the Philistines by attacking one of their garrisons. In revenge, the Philistines gathered a huge army of 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and the people as the sand which were on the shore marched against Israel. Now news of this new invasion reached the Israelites. I keep messing it up. They were scared to death. They hid in caves and in thickets and in rocks and high places and in pits. Many fled across the Jordan for safety. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilead, and all the people followed him trembling. Samuel had said he would meet Saul within 7 days, but day after day went by, and he did not turn up. Meanwhile, more and more men left Saul and fled. By the 7th day, his bodyguard had dwindled down to only 600. The young king was very impatient. Why had not Samuel kept his promise? Surely he knew how serious this situation had become. Soon there would be no army left at all. Suddenly, he made up his mind. He wouldn't wait for Samuel any longer. He would offer a burnt offering in Samuel's place. And why not? After all, wasn't he king? So he killed the animal that was to be offered as a sacrifice and burnt it on the altar. Hardly had the smoke blown away, however, when behold, Samuel came. Saul hurried to greet him, but there was a grieved look on the old man's face. "What have you done?" he said. Saul did his best to explain. "Because the people were scattered and you didn't come, and the Philistines were getting nearer, well, I forced myself therefore and offered a burnt offering." "Thou hast done foolishly," said Samuel sternly. "Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee." And then has a picture of Samuel showing up. And remember it says, as the smoke of the burn out, you can see the smoke burning out of the it's almost gone out of the sacrifice. Okay. So, by failing to wait for Samuel, and by taking upon himself to offer the burnt offering, which he was not supposed to do, Saul had revealed revealed a serious weakness in his character. He had shown that he wasn't the sort of man Samuel had thought he was. He wasn't wise enough or good enough to be king, for he didn't know how to obey. Thy kingdom shall not continue, warned the prophet. Then, as a parting thrust, he said, The Lord has sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord hath commanded him to be captain over his people. It was a hard thing to say at such a time, but no doubt Saul needed it. A moment later, Samuel was gone, and Saul was left on his own, with only 600 men to face the mighty advancing Philistines. Looking at the dying embers of the sacrifice he had offered, he wished he hadn't had been so rash, and he wondered if God had really forsaken him so soon. Discouragedly, he moved his faithful band of followers to a safe place, to as safe a place as possible, and in the uttermost part of Gibeah, 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 and set up his headquarters under a pomegranate tree. Many a time he must have wished he had never gone looking for his father's donkeys. It does not say donkeys. There he would never, then he would have never met Samuel, and he would never been made king, and he wouldn't have got into this dreadful fix. What next? What to do next? He didn't know. Looked, Israel's cause looked hopeless. What would he do with but 600 men? And then it has a picture of him looking at the embers. For you to be small, will be small vision. Okay, and that was story 7. I'm gonna break, and then we're gonna go see how many more we got. And then we'll start on the next book. 9. Okay, got about 3 more stories, and then we'll be done with this book, and I start on the next one. Oh, remember there's 10 books. Whew.